Hello, my name is Sam Felton and welcome to Expert Interviews here on Smash the Fat. For you today, all the way from San Diego, is the CEO of Paleo Inc. and Julian Bakery. It's Heath Squier. How's it going, Heath?
Excellent. Thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
It's a pleasure. It's an absolute pleasure. The reason I wanted to get you on today is because you run the company Paleo Inc. as well as Julian Bakery.
Yes.
And for anybody that knows anything about baking, is that they contain grains, of course, but obviously kind of over kind of the past, I think about 5 years, something like that. Is it, Heath, that you've kind of launched a specific range for the paleo diet, which is absolutely fantastic to see, kind of, a mainstream baker kind of recognizing that there's a need and a want for those types of products that are gluten-free and lower carb and everything like that. Kind of before we get into all of that and how kind of you can implement a paleo lifestyle, how exactly did you get into this line of business?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Back in 1990, my parents started the Julian Bakery in a small town up in the San Diego mountains called Julian. And my mom had always owned food co-ops, was always big on real food, and basically grew up counseling people to eat real food. But back then, the thing was basically low to no fat, and you're still consuming grains, and people didn't know, so they were still counting the calories and things like that, which is still fine, but they were it was all about no fat. And in 1990 they started this bakery I grew up in all throughout high school and so forth, and I kind of went on and got into the technology business, and really in internet marketing, started my own networking companies, but always still really had my foundation in health and nutrition because I grew up with that, and I was always really passionate about supplementation and diet and things like that. But given the information we had, we didn't know about gluten, we didn't know about the grains and the damage they cause and the inflammatory factors. So I grew up playing sports, soccer, 13 years, and I had things like bursitis, and I was dealing with inflammatory issues. I ended up herniating my back. And some of these things were directly attributed to grains. So I found out later on. And so in 2009, I started, my dad passed away, unfortunately, and I came and I started helping my mom with the business. And that was right about when low carb and Atkins was at its peak. It was just booming, and people started to consume more fat, and we actually started focusing on low carb. And when I came in, gluten-free was just kind of starting to get popular. And I started formulating a bread called Carb Zero bread. It was based on oat fiber, because at the time I was like, how do we make a low carb product? And the foundation of that is really with fiber and protein. And so to be able to develop a product that didn't taste like cardboard, that provided protein and fiber, was optimal without the carbs. But through my own trial and error and being able to take away certain things from my diet, I was able to find the paleo lifestyle. And I first found out about Mark Sisson and Dr. Cordain, and found out about the damaging effects of grain and the inflammatory factors of certain ingredients, and I started formulating products specifically for the paleo diet. And in 2011, I launched the first ever paleo bread. And that's kind of the brief story on it. But I mean, in my own personal life, I started developing products that I personally consume. So by removing the grains and the carbs and getting rid of the sugar, I was actually started to formulate waffles and breads and wraps and all these products that not only myself but my family could enjoy, and then I would in turn sell to the public.
That's fantastic, and it's amazing to see a mainstream company kind of go down that line. And I mean, the only other one that kind of pops into my head that's trying to go in a similar direction, not a bakery or anything like that, is there's a gym here in the UK called David Lloyd, and they have kind of a bit of a paleo diet that they're starting to prescribe. So even kind of like the mainstream gyms are kind of cottoning on to this. And it's kind of great to see that the big companies are cottoning on to that, and also that consumer behavior is driving that as well, because a lot of this is the fact that perhaps there aren't any kind of mainstream products available to people kind of on the shelves in regular supermarkets for regular people, that kind of they don't really see. They're just going to go directly for kind of like just the basic cereals, and just the regular wraps and breads and stuff like that. But thankfully, kind of over the past week or so, I've been testing out all of your products that are available now in the UK on Amazon. If people head across to smashthefat.com/Paleo Inc., so Paleo INC, then that'll take you straight through to the Amazon page where you can check them all out on amazon.co.uk. And these are coconut flakes. Now, kind of when I first saw that, I thought, oh, that's a cereal box, right? How can I eat that? Then you check out kind of the ingredients list and everything like that. And this is the only packet that I've ever seen that kind of states at the top high and medium chain triglycerides. You don't see that every day.
Yeah, no, that was my big thing is, now that everybody's not afraid of fat, is to push the fat, and not only pushing the fat, but to talk about a fat-burning fat, and that's exactly what MCTs do. When consuming the cereal, you're actually getting a great level of healthy fat that actually helps burn more fat. So it's right along the lines of all of our other products that basically, if you consume them with diet and exercise, like programs like you offer, Sam, you're going to get great results because they're high in fat, high fiber, they're low carb. And from a low carb aspect, we actually send our products to medallion labs or different labs that specifically test them so that that they're actually low carb. And guess what? We're the only company around that actually post our lab results online, so you can actually see them. You know what you're eating, and when you're on a diet, I think that's really priority number one, because so many companies nowadays are using software analysis to come up with their nutritional claims, and it's not very accurate. And what we found is, hey, why not spend extra money? It's like $1,000. I mean, it's not a lot when you're selling as many items as we are. Why not spend some extra money and actually lab test your products and then post those tests online? And we found that by doing that and formulating based on those lab tests, that people are getting better results because it's nutritional information that they can actually count on. So that's definitely a huge issue with me, because we want to make sure that people are getting results, because they're going to end up buying more product.
Yeah, absolutely. And if they're getting results from eating those foods, they're enjoying the foods as well, then it's kind of like a self-preserving circle of kind of a win-win situation almost,
Yes.
Which is what it's all about, really.
Yeah, and I think that's why we've had such great success worldwide, is because people are getting results, and people are coming from a mainstream diet, and I call all of our paleo foods transitional foods. People are able to use our foods to transition from a mainstream way of eating to a paleo one, and paleo all of a sudden becomes easy when you start consuming transitional foods that hey, look, I'm accustomed to these foods. I can have a wrap and not feel bad about it. It's guilt-free eating, because they can eat it and they can feel good about it. You can have a paleo brownie, and when I say a paleo brownie, they can consume a brownie that doesn't have the sugar. It's not loaded with honey, sugar, maple syrup. It's actually formulated with stevia or monk fruit. So we're taking the extra time to formulate properly so you can feel good about what you're eating. Because so many other paleo products on the market are packed with honey and maple syrup. You
and
actually
dates and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, you start gaining weight.
like a bit too much.
Yes.
And just to give the folks at home that are watching on YouTube kind of a look at what the actual wraps kind of look like. They're these square things here. And in fact, I'll take one out because in the UK at the moment, it's only the coconut flakes and the wraps that are available on Amazon, and it's using Prime as well. So if you've got Prime, then it's free 1-day delivery, I believe. But let me just take out one of these, and it's kind of like this paper thin, probably thinner than a piece of paper actually, and it's great. I mean, I've kind of been wrapping eggs, bacon, and some cream cheese on it kind of over the past week, and having that for lunch. And it's kind of absolutely fantastic. You kind of, wrap it in like that, and Bob's your uncle. You've got a wrap there, as you say, is guilt free. So it's absolutely fantastic.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it's they're really pliable and strong. If you don't put a lot of moisture against them, you can put your layers down first, like some avocado, or if you consume dairy, throw some cheese down there, or throw you can build a great cold cut wraps. You can also crisp them up and heat them up in the oven and create all sorts of incredible desserts like crepes and things like that too. With the coconut, you can actually go sweet or savory. Mm-hmm. And then also on Amazon is the turmeric version, which is more even for the savory meals. So you really we cover both bases. Yep.
Yeah, which is fantastic. And turmeric is such a beneficial herb spice. I think it's actually technically a spice, but it's absolutely fantastic. It recently kind of featured on one of our top 10 herbs and spices list for kind of its beneficial qualities in terms of reducing and stabilizing blood sugar and all the things like that. Cool. So kind of what I really wanted to find out from you is what has it been like taking the company in that direction over the past few years? Because obviously there's kind of conflicting ideals here as well.
Yeah, no, it's been an interesting journey. We were a traditional whole grain bakery that really focused on using organic grains and sprouting them and making sprouted breads, because at the time, the information that we had was sprouted grains are healthy. Mm-hmm. And what we ended up finding out was that they create inflammation. You have weight gain from the gluten. They trigger allergies. So as a company, we were actually completely transformed and got rid of every single product that had grains. We had like 30 some products. We got rid of them all and reintroduced a complete new line that is GMO free. They're gluten free, grain free. Almost all of our products are low carb. They all focus on high fiber, and most of them are packed with protein. So it was a complete transition from our old way of thinking to this new one. And it's just, times change. And, as a company, we wanted to change with it because we saw the future, and the future didn't include gluten anymore. I mean, despite the sprouting and however it is you want to prepare grains, they're just not good for you. And even in small amounts, we were finding out that gluten is just so damaging and can cause even if you're not a celiac, you still have lasting inflammation and things like that for days, even after you're consumed. So it takes a while for that to flush out of your body. And I think by eliminating grains, that you have so much more clarity, and you'll end up losing more weight, and you'll lose it faster.
That's fantastic. Now, one of the other things that you've been doing is running the Primal Show as well, which I was honoured to be on a few weeks ago. So kind of how's that been playing out, as well as being a CEO trying to drive a company forward, running this kind of YouTube show at the same time?
Well, I mean, I had this idea to really educate people about what paleo was all about, and to bring in experts like yourself that are combining exercise and diet, and that are practicing what they preach. And by having guests like yourself on, people are able, it's kind of like confirming our belief system in paleo, low carb, kind of ketogenic fat burning, and confirming that it actually works. And people like yourself and your clients have seen such tremendous results that I just want, it's kind of confirmation after confirmation that this style of eating, this way of eating is working. And the show really allows us to confirm that, and also to educate people about, hey, you know what, it's not that hard to go paleo. And especially when you're mixing it and combining it with foods like we offer, these transitional paleo foods, it makes it a lot easier to have cereal when you want to have cereal, but it's based not on grains, it's based on coconut. You're getting your fiber. You want a tortilla, you can have a tortilla or a wrap when you want it, So we're really covering all the bases from a craving point of view, and you're able to consume foods that you would normally crave without feeling guilty. And the show kind of goes in and confirms this style of eating. And this way of eating is the easiest one to lose weight while following. So
fantastic. So where's the future lie with all of this? Where's Julian Bakery and Paleo going to be heading?
Yeah, no, we're really working on expanding our worldwide distribution, especially into the UK and Australia. There's a lot of paleo hotspots, especially like in Canada, and paleo it's still small in the UK, relatively small, but I see it growing. The sales are growing there, and the demand is growing because people like yourself are educating people about this style of eating. And so in turn, they're ending up searching Amazon and other places like that for foods that they can consume. And I think the future is just huge. And in terms of what we're looking to do as a company, I think how the vegans have their vegan cheese and these items where they don't consume that animal, anything from an animal. I think paleo will be able to have paleo cheese, or something I'm working on right now, that is dairy free and it tastes like mozzarella, and it's it follows this sort of format. We have all sorts of different protein bars and powders, from beef protein to egg protein, that are just really gaining in popularity. Seeing our cereal on the shelf next to Cheerios is just really a validation of the future of our company and also the paleo movement, because the demand is there. I mean, you should see, but I can't make enough cereal right now. It's incredible. It's really amazing to see the cereal fly off the shelves, and to see it sitting next to Cheerios is just it's just a huge win.
That really doesn't surprise me one bit. Now, the one thing I want to kind of look into is just to make sure that it stays real food. I mean, are you guys completely committed to making sure that it's staying real food? Because obviously Cheerios and that kind of the low fat mantra, and kind of ran away with it, creating frankly. So what would you say to that? People might be a bit skeptical about this.
Absolutely. Something that we get all the time, it's like, hey, cavemen didn't have cereal, right? Or, and I'm like, you know what it takes to make that cereal? What we're basically doing is taking coconut, shredding it, and then dehydrating it, mixing it with coconut water, and we use a dehydration process at 115 degrees or less. So we're actually keeping all the enzymes and nutrients in the wraps and the cereal alive. So it doesn't, those two products are about as raw and packed full of nutrients as possible. I almost compare some of the products, like when you take real food ingredients and you mix them together, they're really no more processed than making an egg. I mean, you're heating it up. Sure, did the caveman have fire, or was he cooking up an egg and making scrambled eggs? Probably not. But I think we live in a modern age where focusing on the caveman is completely irrelevant. What we're trying to do is focus on real foods or products, consuming products that don't promote inflammation within the body. And so by consuming foods that we make, it's actually promoting optimal health. And I'm very careful in the ingredients that we use to make sure that they're sustainable, that we have layers of GMO, that they're all GMO free, and we buy organic whenever possible, especially it's really a priority, because as a man, I don't want to consume ingredients that contain xenoestrogens, which trigger excess estrogen in the body, or they mimic estrogen, because I don't want man boobs. I know you don't want man boobs. So that's just another reason to basically not consume these sort of pesticides. And so we take our time and we source very carefully to pick the very best ingredients, and we mix them together and we create amazing food.
That's fantastic to hear. And people can check out all the products available on paleoinc.com.
Paleoinc.com is my research and development company. So the primary site is julianbakery.com/paleo, or go to Amazon and you can search for paleo foods. So those are definitely two places that you can go to find all of our products.
Fantastic. And then if people want to check out the Primal Show as well, they can go to youtube.com/the Primal Show and watch all the shows there. You've got people, as you said, like Mark Sisson, as well as Pete Evans, who we've had, who's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, he's great. We had Dr. Cordain on. I mean, we have bodybuilders, we have diabetics on, we have all sorts of nutritionists. So, I mean, it's really just a great show with all sorts of different guests. So, just like yours.
Excellent, absolutely. And I only leaves one more thing to do, and that's to hear a smash it out from Heath Squier. So, on the count of 3, shout smash it out to the camera. So, 1, 2, 3.
Smash it out!
That's what I'm talking about. Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for your time today. Were there any other wise words that you wanted to leave us with?
No, just just start paying attention to the labels and sugar, and I wish everybody optimal health, and I'm here to make sure that happens. So.
That's cool, man. That's good to hear. All right, Heath, well, thank you so much for your time today. And I'm sure I'll speak to you soon.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thanks, Heath.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.